Hey, my name's Grant Cardone. I'm the founder of the Grant Cardone Foundation, which is focused on providing underserved kids with financial literacy education. In fact, we're not just focused on it, we're doing it every single day.
Grant Cardone is launching his message of financial literacy for kids en español, introducing the book 10X Chicos. This book is free for todos los niños, all the kids. Yes, Grant has his book in English too, of course, 10X Kids. And let me repeat that these books are all free. For more information, visit
thegrantcardonefoundation.com. It's grantcardonefoundation.com. 100% of the proceeds goes to these kids. And let's get the tools for success into the hands of those kids out there that don't have fathers, maybe a single mom that's overwhelmed, maybe they're in a school system that's broken down and not working for them, maybe they're overwhelmed by their community or social media. Dude, it's a crazy world out there. Together, we can create a 10X impact and a 10X world. Thank you for your help.
Today is the launch day for the 10X Kids book in Spanish, 10X Chicos.
And this special Sizzle TV episode is coming to you from right here, Grant Cardone Studios. And of course, we're joined by Sheri Hamilton, COO of Grant Cardone Enterprises. First of all, thank you for hosting Sizzle TV and for talking about 10X Chicos and 10X Kids.
Thank you for being here to talk about it. It's through people like you that help us get the word out. So we're very grateful.
And listen, the word needs to get out because we were talking before we started recording, there's a huge knowledge and wealth gap. And that's what these books, estos libros, are all about. Congrats on the launch of 10X Chicos just now. It's brand new, nuevo. Now, how does it feel to finally get it first in English and now in Spanish, too, en español?
We are elated. And the reason why is because Miami's our home. We're here in South Florida. We've been here 12 years as the Grant Cardone Foundation, as Grant Cardone Enterprises, and we came from LA. And we have so many people that work for us, their children, our clients. We have a worldwide clientele, and the demand for translation has been very, very high on all materials, but especially 10X Chicos, because parents cannot do it themselves. A parent can have an idea that they want to provide for their children, but they have to go to work and they have to report in for their job duties, and they can't be home educating their children. So what are we teaching our kids? Our children are our future. Just not to be cliche, but to tell you that if we don't take care of our children and we don't teach them things that they're not teaching in school, then we're not going to have the best future.
You're right, and it's all about the future, and it's critical. You mentioned parents, especially for, let's face it, and then Latino communities, single parent homes are prevalent, and you guys have a stat that among the Latino groups with the highest poverty rates are children of single mothers at 57.3%. And let's face it, these parents don't have that information, right? That financial information. They too are struggling. So they need to get that information to their children, and that's why this is so critical. I imagine that the book is not only for the kids, but if the parents read it with the kids, then hopefully the concepts will sink into the parents as well. Correct?
You're absolutely right. And honestly, you've touched on the whole reason why Grant started the Grant Cardone Foundation. Because as he was growing up, his father died when he was just 10 years old, and his family were immigrants from Italy. And so he had no one to teach him how to be successful. What should he even do in order to get a good job where he could make a living? And so he got into trouble. He struggled with drug addiction. He'll tell you this publicly. Drug addiction for many years, and it wasn't until from like age 10 to age 25 when finally his single mom, after his dad died, had 5 kids to care for.
Wow.
She never worked a day, so she didn't know how to teach them. She didn't know how to teach her children how to be successful. And it was when he was 25 years old and he finally cleaned up from drugs that he promised himself and he promised his mom before she passed away Mom, if I make it, and I know I can, I don't know how, but I know I can. And if I make it, I'm going to help other people. And that's the purpose of this foundation, because it is these at-risk youth and underserved populations. And Grant sees they have so much potential. What if Grant Cardone never turned his life around? Now he's this international billionaire educator of people of all walks of life on how to improve their businesses, their careers, their lives, their relationships. And now he's able to give that because he's been successful. He's now able to say, okay, and for those who cannot avail themselves of the material, I'm going to create a way to give it.
Oh, and he should know, he's been through that strife. He's been through the struggle. It takes someone who's been through it to understand it, to communicate it to somebody else who's still stuck in that, strife and struggle and that daily grind, that paycheck to paycheck. He's been there, he's done it. So he knows how to communicate that. And that's why this is so important for him to give back and really help people. And he talks about reaching 8 billion people, right? He wants to help 8 billion people. The way you reach 8 billion is to, communicate to everyone in any language, and that's, Spanish is a huge language. And yes. I think you guys have another stat that here in the U.S. we have 54.2 million Spanish speakers. That's yes. Número dos. Number 2 in all the world. Número uno, number 1 is Mexico. So yes. Now he can help kids in Mexico, Peru, Venezuela, where I'm from, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, you name it, Panama, España, tío, anywhere, right? He can help kids in any language, especially, mi gente, my people. And 10X is kind of like Sizzle TV. I spell Sizzle TV with an X, nothing to do with 10X, but we're all about elevating Latinos. So thank you so much for partnering up with that,
yes.
and partnering up with this. And you talked about 10X Chicos, but how did that book and the idea happen? So, because you came up with 10X Kids.
Right.
You had 10X Kids. You guys, you're doing great. You're doing something awesome. But then it's like, does someone say, oye, mira, what about the Chicos? How
Yes.
did that happen?
Yes. So Grant is so passionate about it. It really is his passion. And so when he thought to himself, how would he want his children to be raised? And as he's raising his own kids and he's teaching them things that don't really make sense to somebody who's looking at it from the outside, like, how do you think big? How do you promote yourself? How do you multiply money? These are things, as a parent, you don't think about that. In schools, they don't teach that.
No.
How do you go out there and find out who has the material that you need? How do you collaborate with people? So he was teaching his own children, and he said to me, I need to make this a book for kids. I need to make it a book for kids. And he said, you know what? Every person that comes in and sits with him, you pay $100,000 to sit with Grant for an hour.
Wow.
And these people would come in and he would say, what is it that you have your attention on? What is it that you feel like you need to handle? 10 out of 10 said, my kids. My kids, if I don't get my kids doing well, how can I do well? I can feel like my business is going, but then I get a call from the school, the kids are in trouble, or they're falling behind, or they're in with the wrong crowd. Or if I have to leave my children, how do I know that I've given them the tools that they need to be successful when I'm going off into the next chapter of life,
Yes.
And it's very spiritual, really, Kirk, that Grant really feels like this is something that's so important. Every parent out there, whatever color they are, whatever language they speak, the thing that they want the most is for their kids to be successful. And if they don't know how to teach their kids that themselves, well, that's why we have 10X Kids.
And you talk about spirituality, and it's amazing, and it touches me because that's the power of a true legacy, right? Grant Cardone could build his 10X, and it's he's a billionaire with Elena. But I just saw both of their daughters speak at the 10X Ladies here in Aventura, Miami, Florida. And the 10X legacy is in good hands with those two young ladies, right?
Yes.
So he built something, and that's the power of a real legacy, right? And we as the black and brown folk, right? We black and brown folk, we work really hard to build our little legacies, our little empires. You know, are we passing that on to our children?
Right.
And are they going to be able to handle that legacy? And it all starts with these two books. So it's amazing. And so you just launched 10X Chicos.
Yep.
Go out there, grantcardonefoundation.com. What kind of impact have you already made with the foundation and with 10X Kids?
Well, since its inception in 2017, when we actually formalized the Grant Cardone Foundation, we've been able to go out into the community far and wide. It's really been, honestly, the most rewarding thing for Grant. He loves it, and I'm privileged that I get to be a part of it too. But we've been able to contact over 50 groups, 5,000 role models, concerned African women, big brothers, big sisters, Pace School for Girls, Take Stock in Children. We've partnered with these folks. We've delivered over 300 mentor workshops.
Oh, wow.
And that's bringing those kids from places where they've never had a Panera lunch. They've never been on an airplane. They've never stayed in a hotel. And we fly them in.
Wow.
And they get to come in here and they get to see the 10X headquarters.
They get to be in here too,
They
right?
get
They
to
come
see
in
the
here.
studio. Yeah. They get to have this experience because it helps them really understand what's available to them. The problem, if you're living in a certain way, in a certain area, you're limited by your surroundings. You don't even know what else is there. You don't even know what else is possible. And so it's this 10X mentality. We bring them in through these partners and we give them this workshop about, how to think big, how to write down your goals. What should your goals be? How should you be going after those goals? And they have a workshop, they have breakfast, they have lunch. Some of them get to pitch us their business ideas.
How cool is that?
We've awarded over $165,000 in seed money.
Wow.
For young entrepreneurs who they go through the entrepreneur program, and then they get to come in and they get to pitch the 10X executive team.
Incredible.
On their business idea. And we have had some brilliant business plans. They learn about, what should they account for in their business plan? How much money does it take? What should they allow for promotion? And it's really stunning what's happened. We've had in our 10X hub in South Africa, over 350,000 people have been learning about financial literacy. So
Wait, you have a 10X hub in South Africa?
In South Africa,
Wow.
The 10X hub.
Okay, so tell me all about how many do you have?
Oh, so it's South Africa has its own hub, and it's going to 9 provinces there.
Wow.
And they have this wonderful. It's the logo looks just like South Africa. I'll show you, so that you can show.
By the magic of television, it'll pop up right now. There we go. We'll edit it.
And you can see, but it's our team there who is through Labit, and they're entrepreneurial educators. So we take our education, 10X University, Cardone University, 10X Kids, the Teacher's Guide, and we put it in their hands. And they train on it, and then they train people throughout the provinces in South Africa.
You guys are making a huge impact.
Yes, but we have 8 billion to go. So 8 billion people on the planet is Grant's target. Of course, there would not be a lesser target than 8 billion for Grant Cardone.
Gotta
because
help everyone.
He needs everybody.
Gotta reach back and help everyone. Right?
And the whole point that he talks about is there is no shortage. If he made it, when he made it, if he said, "Oh, I got mine, I'm good," then
I'm going to keep it a secret.
None of
this
us
is my
would be
secret.
here.
This is my
None of
secret
us.
sauce, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to help anyone. I'm not going to teach it to anyone. But instead, he's done the polar opposite.
Because he believes that there's no shortage on this planet. If he does well and you don't, it doesn't help him. He doesn't get yours. You just didn't reach your potential. There's potential for each and every person. And it only helps him when all of us reach our potential. In fact, if we don't reach our potential, what's Grant going to do when he needs great Cuban food, by the way? You see?
Or Venezuelan, or Peruvian, or Costa Rican.
Right.
Or Puerto Rican.
Right.
Yeah.
Or Haitian.
Or Haitian, yeah.
Or
South African.
Yes.
Yeah. Or
Right.
Creole, or Caribbean, or Haitian. Yeah, you said Haitian. But Jamaican.
Exactly. We all need to reach our potential so that we can all do better. And so this is what he believes.
What was funny at the 10X ladies, Grant had me, I think I was the only one left. I literally laughed out loud and I had to like cover my mouth because everyone was looking at me. He said, listen, I'm done doing business with white people. It's like, I'm bored of white people. So I need some black and brown in my life. I started laughing so much, but he's right, because you guys have your own stats. Hispanic-owned businesses in 2020, the big census, yielded $472 billion worth of business. So
that's right.
We're all working hard. We're all cranking, but you guys just want to spread the knowledge, spread the wealth, and
that's the point.
And knowledge is power. And Elena says mentality is numero uno. It's
number one. You have to. You can't think small. And if you're around, an environment where you're only thinking as big as the folks around you, then how do you even know to reach up? How do you even know to reach out? And not only, by the way, you just mentioned that census where they talked about $432 billion from Hispanic-owned businesses. Don't forget the 2.9 million people they employ. So as business owners, we have a responsibility, and we have to expand our businesses, because otherwise, how can we employ more people? And the more people we employ, then the more opportunity we're creating, the more chicos that we educate, then the more they grow up, they become business owners. They now employ people. And it goes on and on and on. And the teachers, once that teacher, think about this. If you have a black and brown educator and they learn these principles in 10X Kids, 10X Chicos, how many children can they impact?
Countless.
It's endless, it's infinite. And those kids, they become teachers. What are they going to remember? They're going to remember the principles that made them want to achieve their dreams and that allowed them to think big enough that something's possible. If you don't think it's possible, you don't even know how to work towards it.
And we showed last year on Sizzle TV one of the 10X Kids tours that you guys gave.
Yes.
You talked about it just now. It's so important to bring those kids in, those kids who don't have those experiences. Like, look what this dude who came from nowhere out of nothing, Louisiana.
Yes.
Look what he's built. Like, if this guy can do it,
that's right.
Wake up, you can do it too. And that's the big message that we're talking about here, right? That's what 10X Kids and 10X Chicos are all about, and that's their mission. But what's the mission in totality? How can people get involved? And you talked about the educators.
Yes.
Are you guys working with them? How does that happen?
Yes. So
do they call you directly? Is there like a 10X Chicos line? What's it?
It's a hotline. Caliente. Well, they just go to grantcardonefoundation.com. And on there is a web form where if you're an educator or if you have a group, or you want to bring your group here because you have a connection to these kids that are underserved, at-risk community, you just click on there. We'll get the message. You might say, hey, I need some books. Great. Tell us how many books. Tell us how many teacher's guides. Tell us what you need. And we're here to provide it. And, if you want to donate, if you want to help, you want to invest in these kids and a better future for all of us, really, and our planet, it's grantcardonefoundation.com. They can do it all there.
So what kind of groups? Nonprofits, school boards? What are we talking here?
We want to be in every place where any child is, any adolescent, if they are learning, we want to be there. And with 10X Chicos, we can start early. We can start 4 years old, 6 years old. And then we have a university that's all the way up until, my age. It's rather old.
We won't get into that.
But really, it's for anyone, anywhere. 5,000 role models, concerned African women, big brothers, big sisters, Take Stock in Children. All of these groups that we're working with, Pace Miami, Overtown Youth Center, any after-school cares.
That's a great.
All-Stars, after-school All-Stars, they were just here. Breakthrough Miami, they were just here. Seeds of Fortune, Seeds of LA, Tumani DC. Any organization that has children in their groups that they're serving that are at risk, underserved, please let us know.
And listen, these people really care. Grant Cardone, Elena Cardone, they care. They care about the culture, la cultura. They care about children. I remember, not a lot of people know this, but Elena Cardone, we had her on Sizzle TV last year. We got her speaking Spanish. Like, she's trying to learn Spanish. And
Yes.
we had so much fun getting her to speak Spanish on the air. So that was a lot of fun.
Mucho en español.
Muy
Pero yo estoy muy mal, pero está bien.
They really care. It's an important mission. It's one that everyone needs to communicate. If, like she said, if you have a school board out there, if you're a parent or if you're a teacher and you want your school board involved, you know how to get in touch with Sheri and the team here at the Grant Cardone Foundation. Anything else? I think we covered a lot. Anything else?
Well, I would
Before we go?
just like to thank you again so much for coming here, for helping us get this word out, because honestly, that's our only challenge. We have so many people that are helping and so many people that are invested. Our team is invested. Grant is invested. He's even got his kids working on the live version of 10X Kids University.
Oh,
that's coming. All we need is you.
Yeah.
All we need is each one of you.
And everyone out there as well.
Yes.
Get involved, teach your kids. Starts with your kids at home, right?
Yes.
I did the same thing. First thing I did was I went home, gave it to my stepdaughter and my son. I said, you guys are gonna have to read this in the summer because no one did this for me. My dad, who was an entrepreneur, didn't do it, right? And here I am still learning in my 40s about this stuff. So it really is important. So thank you so much. Thank you for putting 10X Kids together, 10X Chicos, the Grant Cardone Foundation, Grant Cardone University. The list goes on and on what you guys do.
Yes.
Right? And from here to the future, we'll see in 10 years how many lives will impact. And listen, if you guys want to do this every year, we can do a Sizzle TV episode every year, right from here, to get an update, get a status check, and help promote what 10X Kids is all about. So thank you so much.
love that
And listen, this lady, she's from Hialeah here in Miami. I mean, come on now.
That's right.
She keeps it real. So she knows. So thank you, Sheri.
That's right.
We end everything here on a kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Besito.
Oh, yeah.
Voy para el otro lado.
Yeah.
Gracias. Thank you for watching.